Hello and welcome to today's event, Enhancing Customer Experience via SAP AI and S/4HANA Digital Strategy. If you don't have the chat or comment area opened up, please go ahead and do so now. Just look down below if you are on your phone, or to the right-hand side if you're viewing us on a desktop, for an area to leave your comments. This is where we'll be asking you all for questions and feedback. We want it to be a two-way street where it's truly interactive during the time that we spend together during this session. Please feel free to share any ideas or questions that may pop up as we go through this session. In fact, let us know right now where you are joining us from. As you all are sharing with us, I would like to formally introduce myself. My name is Monique and I'm your host for today's live event. Happy New Year as well. It's my pleasure to guide you through our engaging panel discussion featuring distinguished speakers and an esteemed audience on enhancing customer experience via SAP AI and S/4HANA Digital Strategy. This session will explore how AI and SAP S/4HANA are revolutionizing customer experience management, streamlining workflows, and driving customer loyalty. Today, we will cover SAP S/4HANA on revolutionizing customer experience engagement, streamlining workflows, and driving customer loyalty, which I just said. We'll also cover real-world examples of AI-powered CRM solutions, best practices for optimizing CRM operations with AI, and insights into emerging trends in AI and ERP for CRM innovation. This live panel discussion is brought to you by Pronix Inc. and SAP. Whether you're looking to enhance efficiency, improve customer satisfaction, or future-proof your CRM strategy, this session will deliver actionable insights for success. We will now introduce our three distinguished speakers, Raghu Banda, Frank Florian, and Amit Ranjan. Each of them are a beacon of expertise in the AI landscape. Raghu, welcome. Please let us know a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. First, I would like to say Happy New Year to all of you. Great to be on this panel. A brief background about myself. I've been with SAP for a little over 20 years in different roles. Currently, I'm an enterprise architect advisor focused on AI strategy. I've written a couple of books on how to implement AI in S4. Also wrote another book recently, and I also run a podcast on AI, which is a personal venture from the evenings and weekends. Over to you, Monique.
All right, thank you so much, Raghu. That's awesome that you have a podcast. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, next we have Frank. How are you, my friend? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Again, Happy New Year to everybody, and excited to be here. Well, I'm Frank Florian, and my experience is more so in the business transformation of S/4HANA, right? So I've done a couple of implementations in the past couple of years, been in the finance and accounting and more on that space. And lately, AI, it's the topic in finance, right? Because there's some great things to learn and to do now.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Frank, for sharing. And last but not the very least, we have Amit. Amit, how are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amit Ranjan. First of all, Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Very glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I am a customer of SAP. I am not a developer. So my perspective and my experiences will be from the customer perspective. For introduction, I work in industrial engineering space, automotive energy resilience space. I am founder of Asterisk Green Incorporated. We work in energy resilience, batteries and rechargeable batteries, and a bunch of industrial automation space. And we have extensive amount of data to manage, and that's where we look for platforms like SAP for HANA and big data analytics, AI in SAP, for utilization. Most recently, I was director for manufacturing engineering at Kanu. Previous to that, I have been with Stellantis and Cummins. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for being here. So let's dive right into some of the key questions surrounding AI-driven customer experiences. Raghu, let's kick off with you tackling revolutionizing customer engagement with AI and SAP S4HANA. Could you start by sharing your insights on how SAP S4HANA integrated with AI redefines customer engagement by enabling real-time personalization and interactions?
Sure, I'll be glad to provide some insights in this. As you all know, SAP S4HANA is kind of an integrated with AI, business AI. It is revolutionizing a lot of these customer engagements by enabling these very much real-time personalizations and interactions. And we have embedded a lot of analytics, machine learning, and intelligent automation as well. So if I want to kind of put together a few things, I would like to start with enhanced personalization with AI. With SAP S4HANA, integrating AI tools like Joule, which analyzes the customer behavior, the customer preferences and interactions, and also it enables businesses to tailor experiences which are dynamically and which also kind of predict the customer needs with precision that is needed. So the first thing is, I would say, enhanced personalization with AI. Second thing I would say is like seamless integration across the various touch points, whether it is AI-driven customer engagement tools like the SAP CX AI toolkit, or which provides a lot of product recommendations, visual searches, or a lot of Q&A functionality. The third thing is about proactive customer interactions. How AI capabilities in tools like the SAP Service Cloud or SAP Sales Cloud, how it can enable businesses to generate a lot of these case summaries and a lot more. Four, I would say real-time decision support. With embedded AI in S4, it enables you to kind of provide real-time insights through these natural language queries. As we all know how ChatGPT revolutionized the world in the last 2 years. And we see now a lot of natural language help and natural language queries that can be provided. And the few more things, a couple more points I would like to bring in. I think there are a lot of things, but a couple more points I would like to bring in. Streamlined customer processes. Like when I say streamlined customer processes, how AI enhances these lead conversations with tools like these AI-assisted boosters and how it automates the complete business flow. And finally, responsibility and security, which is not the last, but I think a lot more to talk about. How AI in S4 is implemented with focus on ethical use, transparency, and a lot of these data security related aspects. So I would say these are some of the insights that I would like to start with.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, Raghu. Frank, do you have anything to add?
Sure, I'm actually going to add a little bit more to Raghu, right? Because he's right spot on. I'm in the process, I'm leading an S4 HANA migration right now. This is my fourth one, but I am now in the process of starting to activate Joule for SAP, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to do a lot of research on that. So I'm gonna talk about from where is it gonna help the business, right? In looking at from a business perspective. So in the finance world, right? In the past, we used to make decisions at the end of the month with historical data, and that was too late to make decisions, right? Then we move into real-time data, but still we had real-time data, but there was no analytics or anything. We still had we had to do a lot of Excel analytics, right? Now we have real-time data in SAP, of course, but we can do two things faster. We can bring data from other systems and unify data, okay? And then from that data, now we have predictive analytics, right? So before, finance used to have create a whole bunch of scenarios manually, but now with predictive analytics and having a unified data, now finance can make decisions real time, can have predictive, and can make decisions way before the month end close, I would say, and more accurate decisions. Not only can we do that, but we can also do what if scenarios, right? For those people working in the FP&A side, right? We always want to do with the what if scenarios, so the forecasting and the planning. So in the past, a lot of technology was always geared towards logistics and supply chain. And the past 5 years, finally, technology arrived to the finance team, right? And the business side, right? Where, we like to think the finance were always special, right? But but I would say that now having these tools is actually accelerating month-end close. It's also accelerating decisions. And we go from now really becoming more of a analytic number crunching point of view to basically now having advising our leaders about predictive stuff, right? And making decisions fast. So that is the first thing that where finance and the business will actually find a lot of benefit, not only finance, but also in the logistics side as well, because it goes there in success factors as well, not payroll, right? So, and also in the technology world, right? The app, the configuration is making it so much easier. So I think slowly it's going to continue to evolve.
Thank you so much for sharing. I don't know if you saw, Frank, I was shaking my head yes vigorously. I used to work on Wall Street, and it was during the days of the manual month-end closes, dreaded the long period it would take, let alone right now, year-end closing is going on right now in the finance world. So it's very interesting to hear how AI and even working with SAP and how that has expedited a lot of things, and like you said, make it less manual. So thank you so much for sharing your insight on that. Our next question is for you again, Raghu, on real world success stories with AI-driven CRM and SAP S/4HANA. Can you provide real world examples where AI-powered insights have transformed customer engagement and loyalty?
Sure. Yeah, without taking the names of the customers, I would like to talk a few examples, the real world success stories, I might say. Before talking about the real world customer success stories, I would like to first bring up to the point that when we are building AI into these systems, these enterprise systems, right, like SAP S/4HANA, it is very important that we need to understand it's not only the customer, but you also need to understand the customer's customer. So that is the reason when we are building AI into these scenarios and how do we provide insight, I think it's even more important. So starting with personalization, enhanced personalization in retail, I think this is one example I could take. Whether it is, there is a global fashion retailer with who has integrated S4 with AI-powered customer relationship management to provide the personalized shopping experiences. So here, the AI algorithms, they have analyzed the customer's purchase history, the preferences, and real-time browsing behavior. And of course, the outcome would be that it has provided the customers, they could receive dynamic product recommendations, their personalized discounts, and then the timely reminders about how the new arrivals have tailored to their preferences. So the impact for this retailer, they have seen definitely increased raise in the customer loyalty and repeat purchases. So this is one of the examples from a retail industry. I would talk about another customer as well in the telecommunication space, because here I would be talking a bit more about the real-time engagement. A leading telecom provider using how embedded, using SAP Service Cloud with embedded S4 and AI tools, how they could improve or enhance the customer service interaction. Here, sentiment analysis is very important. So the sentiment analysis and predictive insights, which are powered by AI, they help identify the dissatisfied customers during their interactions. And the agents were equipped with the recommendations so that you could provide personalized solutions or personalized products or additional products which could improve the customer satisfaction scores. So this again increased the personalized engagement strategy and increased the customer retention within a year. Maybe one more, and then I'll turn it over to you, Manik, about the dynamic marketing campaigns or the campaign optimization in e-commerce. When we talk about SAP Marketing Cloud, which is integrated with AI from S4 for smarter campaign management. Here, the AI segmented all the customers into micro segments or the micro groups based on the behavior and the purchasing pattern, optimizing the campaigning time, and then the messaging. Again, the outcome here is that the return on investments improved tremendously and the customer engagement rates increased significantly due to the relevant and timely interaction. So these are some of the examples. I can go on and on with a lot of these real-time success stories, but I would pause here.
No, thank you so much for sharing. I think especially in today's world, AI is so new, right? And I think the fact that you're able to provide so many different examples and success stories really helps the audience and us and those that are here to really see how it could possibly be applicable to us directly. So thank you so much for sharing that. Amit, I would like to actually turn this over to you. So as far as the use of AI in SAP S4HANA in the manufacturing environment, can you provide real-world examples of how AI-driven insights in SAP S4HANA have optimized manufacturing operations or enhanced product delivery, and quality?
Absolutely. So let me break it down for the SAP community here. One example which comes to mind is torque management. If you look at any machinery around you, it's a combination of several different parts which are joined together. There can be several different joining technologies. One of the most predominant one is the ages-old nut and bolt. Now, when you are doing that nut and bolt operation in manufacturing environment, you are continuously applying torque to your bolts. What is torque? Imagine a torque gun to be a very fancy screwdriver, which can tell you how much effort it is putting out. Okay, that effort is your torque. Okay. Now, in any manufacturing scenario, you are joining together parts. When you are joining together parts, you have a desired torque which you want to apply to every nut and bolt. All right. Now consider this. If this is a critical torque, in general, you would take the feedback of that fancy screwdriver which you had in the traditional scenario. You would record that feedback and you will file it in your books. Okay. You are almost never going to look back at it unless you have a fault finding investigation or a warranty event or a recall event. Okay. In general, you would make sure that you are applying the right amount of torque by calibrating your screwdriver at a fixed interval. All right. So now this means that every time you are calibrating your equipment, you are putting that equipment down. For any industrial application, downtime is the biggest expense. Okay? So you want to minimize that downtime. Now, here is where how AI, SAP for HANA or big data analytics can help. Imagine that screwdriver to be capable of getting a little bit more data than what you were typically getting. Like on top of the torque value which it was recording, let's say it was also recording the number of turns it took to apply that torque. Now that data, previously it was being recorded and filed away. With the S4HANA approach, where your database is really active and you are able to interact with it in real time, you would capture both of this data, and both of this data will remain active for a third-party monitoring device, which could be your AI analytics, to continuously monitoring. Now, if that torque, the number of turns it was taking to apply the same torque, has started to increase over time, you know that your screwdriver is behaving differently. So that is the time when you would be able to, or you would think about putting it down and recalibrating it. Remember, previously you were doing it at a fixed schedule, irrespective of whether you needed it or not. right? Now with the S4HANA approach or AI approach, big data analytics, you are able to in real time monitor that your screwdriver is really going bad, and then only you put down. So that would be your manufacturing efficiency improvement. Okay. Now think about a factory or a company which has got multiple factories to operate. Okay. Let's say that each factory is feeding to another factory. In the first factory, you produced a part. Okay. Today, when you produce a part, you apply a torque. Okay, that torque is, if as long as it is within the specs, you will call it a pass. Okay, now that you have got the AI analytics behind it, let's say that the part was produced, and let's say in the evening you ran your data analytics and it found out that yes, your torque was still within the spec, but it was on the boundary line. Now, in the next factory which the part is going to go to, you can trace that part, because almost every part nowadays is serial coded. You have got barcodes, which is again traced into the S4HANA database. Okay, so you will effectively trace that part there, and you could apply counter torques, or you could apply different methodologies to do the correction there. Also, so that would be your improvement of quality of the part or of the product which you are producing. At the same time, because in the previous scenario, you could only do preventive maintenance, so your acceptable, the tolerance which you would provide to a torque application, you would say my desired torque was 5 Newton meter, but because I would only find out that I am bad if I am more than 0.5 Newton meters off, so that's why you would accept a value of 4.5 to 5.5 Newton meters. But with the more integrated database approach, you could reduce that torque value because you are monitoring it in real time. That would be an improvement on overall quality. Your factor of safety would increase. Overall, if you are increasing your factor of safety, you are also going to be producing parts which are more quality. So the customer also benefits, the organization also benefits with the efficiency.
All right. No, thank you so much, Amit, for giving us that thorough example of like different phases, right, in the manufacturing process, especially with preventive measures, efficiency, which is all very important, especially getting the final product out the door and shipped. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
Before we go on to our next portion, thank you so much for those of you all who have been asking us questions thus far. Please do not hesitate to continue to ask those questions. The team is working diligently behind the scenes to pass them over to us. We do have a dedicated time in which we will address those. So please do not feel like we are ignoring you or be shy about it. Based on the allocated time that we have, we will definitely address them. And then as you can see, some of these questions or some of your questions that I see are being answered live as we're going through this actual program. So thank you again. Next up, we would like to address overcoming challenges in AI integration for SAP S4HANA CRM. So Frank, what are the common challenges organizations face while integrating AI into their SAP S4HANA CRM systems, and how can they be overcome?
That's a great question, actually, and lots of companies, right, will be facing this. So in my space right now, we went live with SAC about a couple months ago, right? And one thing we also learned with SAP Analytics Cloud is that you need to make sure you have structured data, right? You know exactly what you need. And you have to have a lot of cleanup data, and you have to know exactly what you're looking for. Without structured data and data becoming available, then this is kind of it defeats the purpose, right? So what AI and the analytics is making every company do is that destroy the silos. Right, everybody, in companies have all these kind of silos, right? And they all have data, right? Companies have a bunch of data, okay? But is that data in a way that can be read, in a way that can be interpreted, in a way that can be that can provide analytics, right? So that's what people have to overcome that first. The other one is which is my favorite because I'm in the process of doing that as we introduce Joule and other AI tools in this current project that I'm in, is people, right? You cannot introduce AI to especially the business, because remember that business went to school to either crunch numbers or do marketing. They didn't go to school for AI, right? IT, we went, even though I'm finance, but I just end up in the world of IT. We went to school to do program and to kind of adopt technology a lot faster, right? So I would say always make sure that you go through your 3 pillars, right, to introduce any sort of technology. You have to change people's minds. So you got to take care of your people first. Make sure that they understand what AI is, what AI can do for their business, right? And number 2, make sure that you also streamline processes. All right. I always tell people, in the past, SAP came up with the concept of simple finance. Well, and I was like, how can that happen? Simple finance. Well, I kind of came up with my own analogy. It says, if you simple processes, and simple systems equals simple finance. Yeah. Sometimes, it's not the system, is not SAP, right? I've worked, before I got into the world of SAP, I was an end user, right? And for us, once we went live with SAP many years ago, it was like a dream come true for finance, because everything was integrated, right? It added for collaboration. So that was some of the stuff that we had. So I think that before we do anything, break out silos and make sure that your business is prepared. They know, clean up data, and then bring AI. Because if you don't train your business correctly, right, then they're the ones going to approve, right, your go lives. They're the UAT, right, and they're the ones who demand the project. So be patient.
I love that. Thank you so much. So everyone that's here or watching the recording, all right, break out of your silos and make sure you organize your data before we're integrating any kind of AI, because AI is not going to be able to save everything, right? Initially, especially if it's a mess. So you got to do your due diligence and your hard work first before we start integrating AI to everything. So thank you so much, Frank, for sharing your thoughts on that. So with that said, seamless AI and CRM workflow integration is very important. So Raghu, what strategies should organizations adopt to ensure a smooth integration of AI tools with their existing SAP S/4HANA CRM workflows?
Sure. I think let's go into like some of these strategies, right? I think how do we these AI-driven analytics within SAP S/4HANA, how can they help businesses better understand the customer behavior, right? I can think what are the different things here. Starting with some of these things would be, I would say, starting with centralized data and real-time analysis, right? I think this is one of the important things I think we need to focus on. But how it works. SAP S/4HANA, it integrates the customer data coming in from various different sources, whether it is your sales data, marketing data, service interaction, into one centralized platform. And AI processes all these different data in real time, enabling the businesses to analyze your customer behavior patterns dynamically. And the benefit for the end user is that by observing these trends, the purchase frequency, the preferred channels, and the different product affinities, businesses can segment customers and personalize these engagement strategies. So the first thing is that centralized data and real-time analysis. Second thing is that I would say predictive analytics for anticipating these different needs. And how it works, AI models analyze the historical data to forecast the customer needs and also the behaviors. For instance, when you are trying to predict when a customer is likely to reorder a particular consumable product and identifying the potential churn. So these are some of these instances. The business benefit, what would be here? It would be like businesses can proactively address these needs, reducing the churn. So that is the second. The third thing is personalized recommendation. Again, how it works, we briefly talked about it. AI uses techniques like collaborative filtering and deep learning to analyze the purchasing history, the browsing patterns, the browsing behavior, the contextual data that is used, and then recommend the personalized product. Again, the business benefit here is that more relevant recommendation. I will, and a couple more like sentiment analysis and customer insights. Again, here sentiment analysis and customer insights, when I talk about it, AI is embedded in S/4HANA processes, which when I talk about sentiment analysis, like how do you process the unstructured data, such as whether it is the customer reviews or support tickets or social media interactions, and how do you extract all these insights? So this is the fourth one. The fifth one would be like a dynamic customer segmentation. So here, when I talk about dynamic customer segmentation, how does AI cluster customers based on the dynamic attributes such as demographies or spending habits and so on and so forth. So, and then a few more like real-time event and trigger management, which also, when I say that real-time event and trigger management, how AI can detect the customer life events or behavioral triggers. So these are 5 or 6 of these different things I've talked about. But what are the key AI tools that are used here, right? Like I think we have been talking about these different, how are we unlocking AI? I would say that there are 3 key AI tools that we're talking about here. Joule, which provides the real-time interactions with the Joule chatbot, and then SAP Analytics Cloud, which leverages predictive modeling and natural language queries for the deep customer behavior analysis. And then the third one, which I would also want to bring out, is the CX AI Toolkit, which offers intelligent customer profiling, the product recommendations, and sentiment analysis. So these are some of the things that I would like to bring. I think back to you, Monique.
Thank you, Raghu, for sharing that. The 6 strategies and also those 3 tools. Just off the top of my cuff of my head, Frank, because you've done a lot of, you said this is your 3rd or 4th bringing in S. Is there anything to add or any insight based on that, based on your personal experience of bringing SAP S/4HANA into an organization?
Absolutely. Well, in the past, right, even in ECC created, we were able to create some sort of dashboards, but still they were not insight, right? It was not giving you real-time information so that you can do some sort of insights in there. Still, it was lacking. But now with S4, now going through implementation of SAC, and now in the middle of deploying Joule, which I think is going to be fairly live next week on that, right? So that now we can get more, besides having real-time data, we have real-time alerts that actually can tell you what is going wrong, if finding abnormalities, so that we can actually fix it right away, take action, or if with your customers, right? Collaboration now went to a different level, right? Before ERP, ECC was collaboration kind of internal, right, among your within your company, but now collaboration, you can actually now expand the collaboration to your customers, right? Where you can actually interact with them real time. They can access their data real time about their invoices history, right? When are they going to get paid? So all of that accelerates all of that, and it gives you a lot of advantages, right? So I think that now we're going to be able to also give kind of like the same type of service every customer deserves, regardless of their size or their channel.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. And speaking of SAP customer, Amit, you are a SAP customer. So what is one critical challenge or gap you believe the SAP community should solve to better meet the needs of businesses like yours?
So one challenge which comes to mind, and I have not been able to find a solution to that. So if there are SAP developers out there looking out for a challenge, this is one thing which I would want you to solve. Think about change management. When I say change management, consider innovation management. Okay. Consider any product which you buy in the market today. Call it the version 1. Tomorrow you will find a version 2 of that. In general, that version 1 and version 2, the changes are going to be incremental, right? So how does that change cycle go through? In general, there is a product engineer who is designing or who is making small modifications to address some concerns for their part. That part is part of a bigger system. That part which that engineer is designing has to go through the program management for approval of that design, the safety considerations, the manufacturing of that. Everybody in an organization has a role to play to put that change in life, right? That's how you achieve version 1 to version 2. In general, every organization who is in the business would have some sort of change management system within their organization. Okay. That change management system so far is different, or I have found that to be different customer to customer or organization to organization. A lot of those software which they are using is built on the traditional SAP, okay, but those are different. So there is one opportunity for the SAP developers to design a change management system which would not only focus for changes inside of an organization, but also layer those changes with the supplier. Okay, now consider this. Any manufacturer, let's say an automotive manufacturer, any car you think of, in general, the car maker is an assembly company. They are bringing parts together. The parts are coming from tier 1 suppliers, then those tier 1 suppliers are supported by tier 2 suppliers. So now consider that small change with the engineer in the OEM or in the car making company made. That change has to go to the tier 1 company also, because they are the part supplier. That change has to also get translated down to the tier 2 company, which is going to provide the raw material for that, right? So everybody has to agree to the change and has to agree to the timeline. Now that tier 1 company is not only supplying to this car maker, they are also supplying to 10 different car makers. So because of this change, there would be a timeline in change or timeline of change of their productions, right? But that change has to be synced with the demands of every other customer. So this change management system, which I am referring to, or which I was referring to, you would be looking at not only inside of an organization, but how that organization would interact with that with its suppliers. And remember that that supplier is also feeding into different customers. So come up with a method or come up with a platform for change management of innovations, which would be there would be an end customer, which is an organization. Then there is a tier 1, which would be supplying to several different of these customers. Then there would be a tier 2, which would be supplying to several different tier 1s likewise.
All right. So to the developers out there, if you're watching this or watching the recording, this is a challenge to you all. And thank you for sharing that. In fact, Amit, when you were sharing this made me once again tap back to the finance industry as far as M&As, mergers and acquisitions, right? There's a lot of change that goes on in change management. It just brings back how this can also be applied to that arena and other industries as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. But to the developers out there, there's a challenge. So hopefully somebody accepts that challenge and works on it. So thank you so much for sharing that again. Yes, Amit, as the customer. Thank you. So let's now transition to real-time responsiveness and agility with AI-driven SAP S/4HANA. So this is to both you, Raghu, and Frank. How does AI within SAP S/4HANA improve the agility and responsiveness of customer-facing operations? Frank, you go first.
Okay, so well, I think it goes kind of back to what I mentioned in the past of the whole collaboration, right? In making sure we're going to be able, well, we're not going to be able, we are able now to be more proactive and get things done a lot faster, right? One thing that as I was getting demos and doing POCs of Joule, it's actually how you're going to be able to cross-train and bring different type of positions kind of like into one, right? Because now people will be able to collaborate a lot more. So we can work with a data scientist, a functional analyst, a business analyst all together so that they can come up with AI ideas and AI results based on that collaboration, right? That are here to the business, to the whole company goals, right? So it's basically having more of a unified, and it also goes back to the silos, right? Hopefully that's a thing of the past very soon, right? And also is that it's going to be more personalized. Also, we'll be able to do, because right now we depend on people, right, and portfolios and that we personalize our customer portfolio. But in this case, we can actually, have more standard processes and again give the same type of service to every customer, no matter what.
All right, thank
The
you.
cross-train for me, it's the key fact
Okay.
here, collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, Frank. Raghu, what do you
Sure,
have to share with us?
Sure. I think there are a few things that I would like to share. I think
Sure.
when we talk about AI within S4 and how it enhances agility and responsiveness of customer-facing operations, I think I would first start with I know Frank has already talked about some of these, but I would like to add a few more, like the real-time insights and decision making. Here, how AI embedded in S4 can process large volumes of customer data in real time and providing instant insights into the customer behavior, the preferences, and the needs of so on and so forth. So I would say real-time insights and decision making. Then we have predictive analytics for what we call proactive customer service. Here, AI-driven predictive analytics models in S4 can analyze historical data to anticipate the future customer needs or issues. Again, this is another thing. Third thing is, I think Frank briefly mentioned about the intelligent automation of customer interactions, but I think just would like to add a few things here. How AI can automate the routine customer-facing tasks, such as order processing or invoice generation or support ticket management. And now with all these agents and agentic AI, how you can use these bots and machine learning models. And just to add a few more, when we talk about how you can enhance the sales and marketing agility here, how AI can help sales and the marketing teams quickly identify the high potential leads and optimize the campaign, and then adjust the pricing strategies. These are some of the things. And then thinking about further, one other important thing is AI-driven pricing and promotion. How AI models can analyze the market trends, the competitor pricing, consumer behavior, and then recommend dynamic pricing and promotion strategies. Then another important thing which I would like to bring is about the customer feedback. I think the sentiment analysis for customer feedback. How AI can analyze the unstructured customer feedback from multiple different channels, which I talked a bit earlier. When I talk about multiple channels, it can be emails, social media, reviews, and understand the sentiment and identify the areas for improvement. And of course, continuous learning and improvement, how these AI models in S4 can continuously learn from new data, improve their accuracy and recommendations over time. So these are some of these things. I wouldn't want to go, I still have a few more points, but I think these are some of the things that I would like to bring up.
No, thank you so much, Raghu. I really like the customer feedback because, like you said, there's so many different ways that you can receive customer feedback. It's a plethora of it in this digital age. So I definitely agree with you on bringing that up. So thank you so much for that. So we're about to, we're approaching, or we're at our very last question that's about to be asked. For those of you that are watching us live, please go ahead and get your questions in. The team has been doing an awesome job of sending them over to us. As I stated before, some of these questions that I've been asking our panelists, we have been able to address. So, but still, we want you all to get in as many questions as you can, because we have dedicated time for that as soon as we finish this last question. So as we are at our last question, and it's about future-proofing CRM strategies with AI and S4HANA, what future advancements should organizations focus on to maximize the potential of AI-driven SAP S4HANA and customer experience management? This is both to you, Raghu, and you, Frank. Raghu, you go first.
Sure. I think this is a very important question, because this is the reason why it's a very important, because this can help you analyze and how you can take your organization forward, right? I think this is where a few things we need to bring in mind here, starting with talking about unified data fabric for a 360-degree customer view. Why this matters? This gives you a complete and a unified view of customer data across all the different touch points, whether it is sales, whether it is marketing, service, supply chain. This is crucial for delivering your personalized and consistent expectations. And the future focus would be, how do you integrate the disparate data sources, whether it is coming from social media, IoT, and other third-party platforms, using SAP's AI-driven data orchestration tools, and how you can leverage SAP BTP, the business technology platform, to build a unified data fabric. That is one thing. The second thing I would like to bring is about advanced personalization with generative AI. I couldn't talk much about generative AI, but I think we all know the last couple of years what all things are happening with this and why it matters. Personalization drives customer loyalty and customer engagement, and generative AI can take this to the next level and create highly customizable content and offers. The other thing which I would like to bring up is AI-augmented predictive customer insight. Why it matters? Again, it talks about how you can predict the customer behavior that allows businesses to proactively address the customer needs and then prevent the customer churn, because this is very important. One more thing I would like to bring up is seamless omni-channel customer engagement. So why this one matters? Again, here it is how customers expect generally a seamless experience across their multiple channels that they have, whether it is online, in-store, mobile, or call centers. So that is one thing. And then finally, AI-driven sentiment and emotional analysis. I briefly talked about it, but again, why it matters, understanding the customer sentiment and the customer emotions, and how it can help the businesses tailor their interactions and improve the overall service quality. So these are some of the things I think we'll turn it over to you, Moni.
All right. No, thank you so much, Raghu, for sharing that. Frank, over to you.
All right, so I'll be quick, I promise. For everybody, all of you that are watching this, and or developers and all the directors there of that are engaging in any migration of ECC to S4 or implementation, don't kill your business with AI. Go slowly, okay? Because if you don't, you will overwhelm us, and then it's hard to get those decisions out of the business, right? We need to crawl, walk, and run. AI is still in its infancy, right? When you start slow and start only identifying those objective key results that you want to monitor, right? We are moving from a chat box kind of thing in the past. Now we're entering into a more conglomerate chat kind of box, right? Where now the chat box it can tell us predictive. It can tell us, hey, we saw this last night, and this is this process it went out of whack, right? So start slowly with the business, because there is, otherwise you will encounter lots of change management, lots of resistance, right? And also identify your audience. Right? We have different type of generations still in our company, right? That they learn at a different pace. And also, finally, make sure that if you future-proof your system, your landscape, make sure that at the very least in IT, you have that landscape and that architecture that can adapt to future AI. AI it's here, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's just gonna continue to get better. But if you set that platform, and then you also bring the business and you give the business continue learning, then you're gonna have a much easier way to actually introduce AI, right? We all are excited about it, right? But it's still in its infancy, right? I write a lot about AI in school, my research papers also, and so I challenge that a lot, right? That sometimes we want to go too fast. Remember the 3 things I said, right? People first, okay, processes first, and then technology. And sometimes we end up doing it the other way. Technology, then process, and then people, and that's where we fail miserable, and that's how projects fail. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So that's kind of future-proof your system. And go slowly. That's what I would do. My recommendation.
I love it. Thank you so much, Frank. That was great. So for anyone that's listening to us live, or watching us live rather, and also watching the recording, each of our speakers have provided some amazing insights and amazing strategies. And so we're now at the point where we are opening up to live Q&A for our audience. And in fact, there's quite a few questions here about the future, and there's some I'm just going to address to each of you. In this next question, I would like for you to go first. So this is just a simple question of asking, could each of you provide a 1-sentence summary of the future of AI and SAP? Amit, you want to go first on that? Or think about it.
Brilliant.
As the customer. Yeah.
Yes. Brilliant. Lots of opportunities, lots of efficiency improvement, but go slow. Follow Frank.
Oh my goodness. All right, next, Raghu, what do you have to say as a 1-sentence summary of the future of AI and SAP?
I think I would tell in 1 sentence, business AI is the key in whatever interactions or whatever transactions that you're doing, because SAP's transactions touch about 77% of world transactions. So business AI and how it interacts with any transaction.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that. I like that, and very true in regards to business AI and interaction. Frank, what about you? What is 1-sentence summary of the future of AI and SAP?
I would say better analytics to make decisions fast, faster issue resolution, right? Mm-hmm. And overcoming challenges early before they get a lot worse.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. The next question that we have here, what are some of the hidden benefits of AI and SAP CRM that businesses might overlook? Who would like to tackle that one?
I would say...
Go ahead. No, I thought just take a first stab at it. I think there are a few things that with the inception of generative AI, we know a lot could be done. We think that, okay, using ChatGPT or a lot of these other tools out there, I can answer a lot of these questions out there. But I think the business context is very important. So when you ground this information using the business context in the SAP repository and using the SAP CX AI tool, you get a lot out of it. So you'll have to look into how you can get the business context, use the business context and ground that with the SAP CX AI tools. Over to you,
All
Frank, I
right.
think.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give also something from the business that we actually just kind of discovered this couple of days, right? Because everybody thought that Jewel was more on the success factor side, and I was like, no, Jewel has a lot more than that. So one thing that we are now going to be promoting to the business is financial compliance and audit support, which is a key thing for finance, right? So now with AI, right, it's going to be able to tell you if there has been or if it detected an audit that could be against SOX compliance, and it will not only detect it, but it will also tell you how to amend it and it will give you recommendations how to mitigate it. That is something that is always, especially for people that are in the IT world, and I've been managing also security and GRC, and I always have to deal with external auditors, right? That they are always looking at the separation of duties. And that's another thing that also it can give you. So for finance, I mean, it's going to be, and I would say, just like I said at the beginning, Jewel and AI, it's in infancy. Just continue. Don't keep what you are given. Continue to bring all of the new stuff, right? But that will be one thing I would say. There's more because I found more in the IT world also, right? But there's a lot more in Jewel.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Amit, do you have anything to add to this?
Absolutely. Adding on to what Frank said, for the SAP community, don't be afraid to venture out in physical world. So finance, customers, we all look at all of these items as data items. Manufacturing, industrial, that is also a lot of data. So venture out, look at different things. Everything is data and everything will benefit from intelligence. That's why AI in data, AI with data in business anywhere will help. So don't be afraid to look out.
I love that. Thank you. I love that answer. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, you'd be surprised when you look at other industries and how they're implementing certain things, what you can learn and see if it's can be applicable to your pre-existing systems and things like that. So thank you so much for sharing that. We only have a few minutes left. And we've answered a lot of the questions here, but I'm going to ask this one. How scalable are AI solutions in SAP S4HANA for growing enterprises?
How scalable? Well, I mean, if I take the example that I'm doing now, right? Again, it's still early in stages. As long as you have the right platform that can accommodate future growth and future updates and growing Gen AI, that's the key, right? I think it's hard to predict that because everybody's just starting on this journey. It's a journey, but I would say just make sure you have your landscape and architecture ready for that. Always think about 3-5 years from now. Do not solution for today's issue or today or today challenges. Solution for today challenges, but also it has to be scalable 3-5 years down the line.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to add to that, maybe I could say that one other thing to just add to that. Understand that what is the current problem that you're trying to address, and how are you addressing that problem and how you can implement. So AI is needed, or just don't do AI for the sake of AI, but understand the customer problem that you're trying to solve and then implement it, and then that's how you can scale it very easily.
All right. Amit, do you have anything to add on your end?
Yes. So that change management example which I was giving, when you are developing something like that, you are developing it for an organization. But think about modularity, right? That organization may have a very unique org structure. Don't develop your platform to that organization. Develop it in a modular way. Look for interoperability of that module, department to department, organization to organization. So that way you will remain scalable. You will have a base platform every time to start with, but you would have already developed that. Then you are only customizing after that, and that will make it scalable.
All right, I love that. Starting with the modular perspective and view. Thank you so much. So we're actually exactly at the top of the hour. Thank you to everyone who have asked their questions. If there's any questions that we have not answered, I ask that the panelists, if you have the time, to please go ahead and go to the LinkedIn Live event and answer any questions directly if you're able to. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you who are with us thus far to the end of this amazing panel. As we conclude today's panel, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our speakers, Raghu, Frank, and Amit, for their deep dives, and to our audience for their engagement. This event's recording will be available on the same LinkedIn Live event page for those who missed it or wish to revisit these discussions. Today, we explored how AI and SAP S4HANA are transforming CRM processes, enhancing efficiency, and driving customer satisfaction. As businesses embrace these innovations, the synergy between AI and SAP S4HANA becomes a cornerstone for success in the digital age. At Pronix Inc., we are here to support your AI and CRM transformation journey. Thank you for being a part of this insightful conversation. Again, I'm Monique, and it's been a pleasure to be a host for today's event. Bye-bye now.